Welcome back to our next April 2020 virtual Sew Fun session. I'm Terry Gonzalez, and we're so glad you could join us. I did two different embroidery projects. This one is called Simplified by Janine Babbage. Her instructions are very good. I did this on the 10 needle in two hoopings, so it did half of it and then it did the other half. I ordered Simplify because I figured everybody is so busy in our lives, we need to simplify. Since then, we've had COVID-19 and we've all simplified by staying home. So this is just, it's a nice thing to have and hang in your house so you can remember that. It would make a good gift to give to somebody who's really busy to just simplify a bit. We have these hangers at the end. They'll be available for you to purchase. I wanted to talk about the little hanger pocket. She made it so easy because when I was sewing this on, we sewed this on. So there was absolutely no handwork on this at all. It was all done on the machine. I sewed my binding on to the front, then turned it under to the back side, put the little clips on there, and I used my narrow edge stitch foot again, stitched it in the ditch, and it looks from the front like I did it by hand. And on the back, you can hardly see that it has anything on there. So again, this is the Simplify wall hanging by Janine Babbage, and it's a very easy project to stitch out. The next one I did was Laura Lee Designs. I love Laura Lee. She makes the funniest looking women with fruit, and this time she's using notions, sewing notions. Sewing notions, I collect fabric with sewing notions on it, so I love sewing notions. So this was perfect for me. The first little bag I did is called A Head Full of Notions. She's got her scissors sticking in her little bun area up there on the top to hold them up, and her thread and everything. I embroidered it on vinyl. Vinyl is very easy to embroider on. You just hoop a stick away stabilizer, stick your vinyl on, put it under the machine, and it has no problem. You don't need a topper on it. You don't need anything. It's a very easy thing. I may have floated a piece of tearaway on the bottom of it just to make sure there was enough density there for the stitches. But this was very easy to do. Next one I did was on a blank by Kimberbell. So this is the denim tote bag. And when you get these, they're just completely open. The handles are on them, sides are serged, and that's all there is to it. So it's nice and flat. You just hoop it, put it on your machine, and stitch your design out. This one is called So Enthusiastic, and I use buttons. She has, in this packet, you have buttons, you have spools of thread, little hollyhocks, and I put the buttons across the top just to kind of make my main design stand out. Afterwards, all you have to do is stitch up the sides and decide how wide you want the bottom to be, and your bag is completely finished. So the Kimberbell bags are available online as well as this design by Laura Lee. I ordered in this pattern called Travel Time Zips. There are 10 different zipper sized bags. There's a really teeny tiny one called a baby zip, all the way up to a great big zip bag for lingerie. This is the medium-sized bag that I put the Laura Lee design on, and it's made in a tube. So you have a long piece of fabric. It's like what Lisa did at Christmas time. So you have a long piece of fabric, you separate your zipper, sew it across the top with your lining, you sew up your side seam and your bottom, then you put your zipper together with the tab back on it, and it's a very easy way to do it. You have a half a zipper, you just need one more tab to use the other half. On the tab, I just sewed two pieces of vinyl together, top stitched around, trimmed it off. You don't have to turn anything in. With this vinyl, you don't need to use stabilizer or any soft and stable or anything in it because it stands up nicely without it. And on the lining, of course, I did put some iron-on fusible interfacing so it would have shape and last a little longer from whatever you're filling it with. So that's the medium zipper bag. Now this is the reason I bought it, because it has this nice bag to carry wine in. It holds a good sized wine bottle. And on this, I use Soft and Stable, and I line stitched it to give it some support and stability. On the inside, I just used regular batting. If I would have thought about it, I might have put Embroidered, so it could have kept that bottle of wine cold if it was cold to start with. I like the zipper is long enough that it opens up nice and wide. The one thing I didn't like is she told you to glue your tabs onto the zipper, and I didn't like the way that turned out. So I did the tabs, I ironed on interfacing again, and did the tabs this way and just top stitched around them, and I think they look a lot better. So this would make a great gift to give to one of your girlfriends, and to go along with it, we have these nice little wine glasses that say, stitch a little, sip a little. So this would be an excellent gift for somebody, or just for yourself while you're sewing during our quarantine. Okay, the next little project I worked on was teeny tiny collage patterns by Laura Heine. I like to do applique, so she speaks to me. All her patterns do. Of course, this one has just sewing notions for your sewing room, which I really like. So the first one I did was about 2 years ago. This is included in that pattern. It would be a little smaller than this because this was the mini size, and I even shrunk it a little bit. I have a small house, so I need small things for the wall. She has you start by tracing it onto foundation, that paper pattern, and then you cut out all your background pieces. My backgrounds have sewing words in them or little sewing notions mostly. And then you start by embellishing it. The embellishing part is so much fun. So on this one here, which is the one I just did, I embellished it with flowers that was left over from the other project here. Each one of these flowers is a different piece of fabric. You use your Steam 2, which is a double-sided sticky for applique. You cut the pattern out that you're going to use a little larger than regularly, and then you cut it out on the line after you've pressed it onto your Steam 2. Then you take the back off, and it lays down and can be repositioned if you don't like the place you have it in. We ordered in Karen K Buckley Perfect scissors. They're very nice. The edges are serrated, so they cut nice and smooth and give you a clean edge. They have a little protector for the blade, and the handles are nice and big, so if you have lumps on your fingers from arthritis or whatever, it doesn't hurt. They're soft. They're very nice scissors. I actually put a little bit of other embellishment that I had that was given to me for a Christmas present from Simplicity that they have at Joann's going on right now. And so I think this turned out really good. Again, I put the binding on the front, turned it around, and stitched in the ditch and used the little binder clips. You don't do any really finishing on the edges of Laura Heine's projects. You just stick them on there, and then you stitch the grid. And so you wouldn't want to make something that you were going to wash because the edge could come up if you washed it. So for a hanging on the wall, it's a perfect project. And that's Laura Heine Teeny Tiny Collage Patterns.